Hey guys, welcome back to
When You Wish Upon a
Podcast. Hey Albert, Mr. Overachiever, let's be the first one to show up.
Hey, just to be fair, his dick was hard for Disney.
I know, he was so ready for Disney, he already heard about talking about Hey Derry Tendo.
Yep, his dick was hard for Disney. He was just like, that Disney. No, I'm kidding. How you doing, Albert? Hi, Jerry.
But anyways, guys, we're back to doing the Silver Age. We're going to finish it off today. Because since Silver Age was kind of a big list, can't be any bigger than probably the Renaissance, I'm assuming. I guess. Maybe, even looking at the Dark Ages, it might be fun, too. I think from now on, I think the shortest one was the Golden Age of movies. Now we're like getting these lists, and then we get the one that's like the now revival era now they're going to put everything there now.
You're calling it the revival era?
Well, that's where like Frozen 2 and Wreck-It Ralph and them are at right now. The second Wreck-It Ralph movie, not the first one. So it's like right now that's what we're in right now.
I call it Renaissance 2.0.
Well, that's what they said, the revival era.
Yeah, I still call it Renaissance 2.0 because they're trying to They're trying to ship out old movies, but rehashed and a little bit of new.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like we got like Frozen 2 that's coming out this November. And then you already had like Ralph Breaks the Internet that's out already. So it's just like, yeah. Just got to the park. Well, that's nice. Is it a nice day down there in Texas? Because it's supposed to be getting up like the 70s to here. But, so.
Well, my other phone was 2 minutes off telling me that you're on a...
Oh my god, I'm live! Just thought I'd let you know I'm live.
I'm sorry, what?
It's all sunny and ish. Oh, that's good. At least it's a sunny day.
You're live?
I guess. I'm alive.
I thought you were...
I'm alive!
I thought you were deed.
Hey, Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
All right. Well, since we're going back to Silver Age, I get to start with Sleep. Well, I don't know why he was doing the bird, but yeah.
Welcome to Disney News.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Because it's just like.
In
tonight's topic, we will be discussing Sleeping Beauty. Why was she sleeping?
What was the reason behind it? Did she?
101 Dalmatians. Why that many puppies?
Wow. I'm just looking at you like, well, you go do you thing over there. I don't know what the heck you're trying to do, but I'll let you go do that. It's like, okay. Anyways, versions of Sleeping Beauty have been published by both Charles Perrault and the Brothers Grimm. Perrault called his heroine Aurora, while the Grimms called theirs Little Briar Rose. Referred to their princess as well. Briar Rose, Disney split the differences and used both names, so that they got both the Brothers Grimm and the Perrault
that's
version.
why her name is Aurora Rose.
No. Her name is just Aurora, as in, like, she's the princess. Briar Rose was her cover-up, so, like, Maleficent couldn't find her when she was growing up, basically.
Oh.
So that's the reason why they called her Briar Rose. In the Disney version, anyways. That's why. Because it was a cover story.
Hold on. It's going to be cold here today with a high of 84.
Yeah, that's freezing. That's just too freezing cold.
Oh, my God, Chris, that's so cold.
Hope you don't get snow with that.
What is it, like 60 here?
We're supposed to get 70 to here.
Yeah, that's what we call nice weather.
That's what, yeah, we call that the nice calm weather.
That's why I thought it was like when Jesse S. was like, guys, it's 60 degrees.
Hi, Happy Lux. Hi, from Luxembourg. Awesome. Hi, dude.
When Jesse S. was like at PAX, it's like, oh guys, it's 60 degrees outside. It's super cold.
And you see all the people from the north. They're like, it is spring.
We're from the mid, and
anything from northern Texas was north of Texas.
Yeah. Even the Canadians are sitting there like, really, Jesse? It's that cold? Tell us more.
And they're like, this is spring weather for us. The sound seems to be a little fuzzy to me. If that makes sense, might be just me. I I don't know. Is the thing coming? Is it because that's too loud, maybe?
Probably.
That's the mic, right?
Well, then again, it didn't help that you and I were yelling into it not too long ago.
I've turned it down a little bit just to see. I'm trying to keep it at the...
La 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 la.
But, like, it worked fine yesterday when I did it for my video. Like, it stayed in the green. 90% too loud and very fuzzy. Is that better? Okay. I turned down the volume of the... Yeah, because it kept getting to the red. That's probably why.
Yeah.
So we probably just don't need to be yelling at it unless we're, like, getting into it, I guess.
Even then.
Just a bit of clipping. Okay.
Even then, you can ask Slayer Dan to see how he... Because he uses multiple whatchamacallers.
But anyways, we'll figure it out. But if everything is better for them, that's great. Like, you know. Unless, is there... No, there's nothing else on the mic.
How's it going on my dick?
Oh, okay. Alright, well, I think we kind of got it to, like, being... Just a bit of clipping. I don't know. I think something's up with it. Because I think I did that with mine, too, I think. The video.
Hi, Chuckful.
Hey, Chuckful. Alright. Prince Philip is said to have been named after another royal that Americans would have been familiar with during that time period. Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II. They had only been married for 12 years at the time Sleeping Beauty was released, and she had been queen for just 7. At the time Sleeping Beauty came out. Instead of the 3 quirky fairies, the original versions included 7, as in Perlotte's story. Other versions included up to 13, making the evil fairy the unlucky addition. The gifts the 7 fairies bestowed in Perlotte's tale were beauty, wit, grace, dance, song, and music. In Disney's Sleeping Beauty, that was trunicated to beauties and song. So it's like, oh, we'll skip all the other stuff. We'll just put everything together. Mary Costa, the voice of Sleeping Beauty, is a professional opera singer and was performed in more than 40 operatic roles on stage. She sang at a memorial service for John F. Kennedy at the request of Jackie Kennedy after Jackie heard her singing the Star-Spangled Banner at the Academy Awards. I didn't even know the Academy Awards sang the Star-Spangled Banner.
I love how they say just Jackie Kennedy. It was Jackie Onassis Kennedy. Get it right.
Well, whatever.
Get it right.
She was also one of the original Chrysler girls. Here she is with... Well, okay, never mind. That's a picture, and I'm not...
Here she is with
Bing Crosby in 1971.
Oh, God. Did he beat her with Valencia Oranges?
Oh, I don't even have the picture, so... There's no picture for it. We can't see her pictured over here. Why am I yellow? I'm yellow.
You're yellow?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The stream. Like, on YouTube, it's yellow. For me, I'm seeing it yellow.
Maybe that's because of your screen?
Because we're doing okay? Okay, I don't know. I'm just like, you know, that yellow bar on top on YouTube? When you're on the
thing? the stream thingy. Yeah, no, don't worry about that.
I know, that's a great picture, right? Okay, I'm just seeing the yellow bar. Sorry, I just had to make sure. Cost is originally from Knoxville, Tennessee, and her southern accent almost prevented her from getting the job. Animator Mark Davis said that after some deliberation, the team did decide that if an English woman like Vivian Leigh could pull off a southern accent for Gone with the Wind, a southern girl could sustain an English accent for Sleeping Beauty. See, I didn't even know that she was like, you know, somebody that's from the South, you know, and you know how some of them have those, like, really distinct accents. See, I think that's, like, awesome. Like, they could just play it off like, we don't have this accent. We're not this at all. Though Mary Costa provided the voice for Aurora, Helen Stanley was the live-action reference. She served as the reference for Cinderella and Danita from 101 Dalmatians. Here, blah, blah. Yeah, no, I don't care. Not talking about a picture that we don't have. I like you guys when you give me pictures I don't have to show. So now you know that Helen Stanley provided the live-action model and Mary Costa provided the voice, but there was at least one other inspiration for Princess Aurora's features and body type. Can you guess who that was?
No.
At the time?
No.
Can anybody guess that?
No.
You're saying no for everybody, and
I'm just going to take a guess and say Marilyn Monroe.
No, not Marilyn Monroe. I don't think she was like really that. Well, she might have been famous at that time.
If it was around the JFK thing, then yeah.
Well, that was like later in the 60s anyways. This was made in the 50s. So, I mean, give a toss-up. But it's not, the look of, some features weren't by Marilyn Monroe, but another famous actress, though. You gotta think of all your old actresses to know what else features that Aurora looked like.
I can't remember her name, but I think what's her face? What's her actress name? Who did Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Oh, you got it! But I know who you're going for. It's Audrey Hepburn.
Yes.
Yep, Audrey Hepburn.
Like I had to sit there and actually think. Like I can't grasp the name, but I know the movie she's most famous for.
Yeah. I was like, I could give it to you anyways, because you kind of like, you got what you were talking about, and you kind of got the actress who it was, so I was like, okay. When the fairies discuss how to help the king and queen early on in the film, Merryweather makes cookies in the shape of a classic Mickey Mouse head. I did not realize this until like I looked at the picture, and I was like, I did not notice that. But I mean, as a kid, you would not, pay attention. You just like, oh, she's eating a cookie with her tea, whatever this is. I don't know what they're drinking, like coffee, tea. Right. But so, yeah. Although it's a classic now, Sleeping Beauty was not a darling at the time. Critics thought the movie moved slowly and lacked character development. So critics disliked this princess movie. Bless you.
Thank you.
So,
shut up.
What are you saying shut up for?
Not you, the audience.
Oh, well, nobody's talking.
Yeah, good.
They're just like quiet and just listening.
Good, because I know my sneezes are weird.
Oh, I didn't say nothing bad about it, but okay. We all have a certain sneeze that we don't like. So, in fact, Sleeping Beauty was such a box office bomb, at least compared to the cost of production, that the company decided that the princess movies weren't exactly the wave of the future. They didn't make another princess movie until 30 years later, when The Little Mermaid was released in 1989. So 30 years they left alone the whole premise of Princess because of Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, I can see why.
Oh, I could too. I was like, but to talk? What?
Do you want us to flashlight, smoke, talk?
Oh, I have to say, you guys can have some, you can say anything you want. So, I mean, if you have any talk about it, that's great.
Yay for the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, and that's when the Renaissance starts. So basically, when we get to the Dark Age, you're just not going to see any princess in any shape or form. Well, I mean, besides you got like Mary from Robin Hood and stuff.
Mary Magdalene? No.
That's Mary Magdalene is like Jesus. Sorry.
Maid Miriam.
Yeah. Oh, it's a sneeze. Oh, okay. I was like, I can understand what you're trying to go for, Chris. Another reason it took 6 years to bring Princess Aurora and Friends to life was that Walt was kind of sidetracked with another project at the time, Disneyland. The castle there was originally supposed to be named after the original Princess Snow White castle, but since they were trying to promote Sleeping Beauty, they managed to change it to Sleeping Beauty's castle. So technically, Disneyland's castle was supposed to be Snow White's, but since they were trying to promote Sleeping Beauty, thinking Sleeping Beauty was all it, and blah, 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 that's why it's now called, at Disneyland, Sleeping Beauty's castle. So, and now that was like a bomb failure off of that. I can't read. There's like some stupid ad thing in my thing.
There's a stupid ad thing in your thing?
See? I can't read some stuff. I'm trying to. I can't read number 12 very much.
So then skip it.
Oh, okay. I remember this one. I remember reading it and I thought this was cool. The book that, that opened in the beginning of Sleeping Beauty was actually a real life book. And the pages were real. By an author, like an artist, by Evan Earl, the man responsible restored the entire look and feel of the movie. It was 2008, and it was part of the Disney Archives, where it's sometimes put on display in events. So it's in Disney Archives. This book.
What was the last book that was featured opened up and featured in a Disney movie?
Robin Hood. I still know that one. But yeah, so the book in there is like because some of you get like even the pages like the book outside could be real, but inside it's like animated. Like you could see like in Cinderella it was more kind of animated of the book. This one was actually real stuff. Like it was an actual real book with the pages and everything.
Nice.
So Walt worried about the constant comparison to Snow White and Cinderella, so he worked with Earl to come up with the stylized, angular Sleeping Beauty look, which was very painstakingly and time-consuming. That's why it took us 6 years and $6 million to make Sleeping Beauty. But to us, it was worth it, Walt once said. Earl also worked on Peter Pan and Lady and the Tramp, among others.
Interesting.
I was like, okay. Even though it spent that much, it didn't do very well. Okay, well, we're done with Sleeping Beauty.
Well, again, with Walt, most of his best creations are always an artistic success, but a financial failure.
And I want to say this too because he was working on in Silver Age, it looked like he worked on movies all at the same time. I think that was a big mistake for Walt to do that because he had all these other ones working at the same time, and then plus on top of that, Disneyland. I think it would have been better if he was doing like one at a time because like it says in there he did like Lady and the Tramp and all these movies all together at the same time, so it's like they didn't come out as what he wanted. So it's like I think that was your fault, Walt Disney, unless you feel like you were dying before that, whatever. But it's just like
maybe he knew.
I don't know. I mean, with all the years of smoking, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know if they actually had that screening back in that time.
No, but maybe he just knew in his mind, like, I don't know.
I just think it was just too much. I just think he did too much in too little time, and so like a lot of stuff. Some stuff became successes, and there was some that was just like it could have been better, but But I'm surprised, with the whole Sleeping Beauty one. I'm surprised I didn't sit there and make a big deal that was the first movie that there was a prince that actually had a role. He actually had a personality, as versus the other princes in like Snow White and Cinderella. They didn't really have a personality, barely. He actually had a role in the movie, so I think that's when we got the start of like the princess actually being in the movie, instead of just being you just go save the damsel in distress and you're good, type thing.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for 101 Dalmatians.
I'm talking about dogs.
So here's number one. Roger and Anita's last name was Dearly. So in the original novel by Dodie Smith, also famous
I didn't even know that was a book. 101 Dalmatians, like an actual like book, not Disney's, But I think it was really cool. It was actually a book.
So Roger and Anita's last name was Dearly, not Radcliffe, but presumably Disney changed it since they already had two similarly named couples, Jim Dear and Darling from Lady and the Tramp, and George and Mary Darling from Peter Pan.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot of darlings.
And
so we're all related.
In the book, Roger is actually a financial wizard, not a struggling musician.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Number two, Dodie named her had a Dalmatian named Pongo.
I think I would want to name mine. If we got a Dalmatian, I probably would name like if they were.
So.
Oh, darling, my darling, right?
So, Dodie Smith named her male canine character after a Dalmatian puppy her husband bought her as a gift in 1934, Pongo.
I like Pongo and Pretty.
Of course, you'd be seeing. Wow, they completely misstepped a number three here.
Sorry.
Okay, here it is. Number three, there are more than 6 million spots in the movie.
So, somebody literally sat there and counted 6 million spots in the whole entire
movie. Oh, yeah, no, check this out. Of course you're seeing spots. There are a lot of them in this movie. Someone counted it. 6,469,952 spots over 113,760 frames to be exact. Pongo has exactly 72 spots, while Perdita has only 68. The rest belong to the puppies.
Just imagine how long that took that person to sit there and count every dang spot in that whole entire movie, and making sure you're not like double counting on a different, on a same puppy.
Right.
Because you could tell the difference between the ones that own, like, the puppies of Pongo and Perdita. That was like 15.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but then again, you're like, you have to try to make sure you're not double counting because they all look the same.
Still, though. God. Okay, so this was actually the first movie to also use Xerox technology.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry that the animators all developed carpal tunnel after the movie was inked. 101 Dalmatians was the first feature to use Xerox technology to transfer drawings to cells.
Oh, yeah.
Saving a lot of time, money,
and Disney hated that. Walt hated that because you could see the lines. And I now realize that after watching the animated version of the 101 Dalmatians, you can see the lines. Like, it looks bad. Like,
that's what it says right here as number 5. He didn't like the visual effect that the Xerox technology gave, because the Xerox style, which gave a film that sketch look, was opposite to the crisp lines seen in earlier Disney features.
Yeah, you don't see the lines.
Walt Disney disliked the scratchy aesthetic.
Yeah,
so to him, this is one of his most disliked movies.
Yeah, because of that, and I agree with him because you could see the lines. If you really watch the movie really well, you can. It just it's not smooth. It's just too like eh. I mean, the storyline's great, but I'm just thinking like yeah.
Oh, here we go. Radio star Betty Lou Garrison was the voice actress as Cruella de Vil. The little known fact, she's also known as the narrator of Cinderella.
Yeah, I knew. You could tell the voices if you listen.
Oh, I know.
You could tell the voices like are the same. But
so,
but at least you got to play
Cruella de Vil narrated Cinderella.
Yeah, there you go. She was telling the story.
So, the dogs aren't actually white. They are very light gray. White would have been too bright on screen and wouldn't have worked in the snowy scenes of the movie.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, you could tell that they're gray.
Lady and the Tramp make a cameo in the movie.
I'm sorry, Albert. Well, for us that don't know, it's new to us speak. I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is my opinion.
So, if you look closely during the Twilight Bark scene, you'll spot a few canines from Lady and the Tramp. Jock, Peg, Bull, Lady, and the Tramp in silhouette.
Yeah, I can see that. I watched that so many times, and then I bet you they're going to say the same thing when we get to Oliver and Company, because there's Pongo in there and stuff like that when we get there.
Mm-hmm. The movie was intended to be more musical.
Yeah, I could not see
There are only 3 songs in the entire movie, but more were written, including a Cockney chant called "Don't Buy a Parrot from a Sailor," said to be performed by Horace and Jasper.
Wow. Just imagine those two singing.
Oh, wow. Zsa Gabor.
Zsa Gabor, yeah.
Inspired Cruella de Vil's look.
I don't know if I could see that. I have to look at Zsa Zsa. It's a
Zsa Zsa.
Yeah, Zsa Zsa's look again to see the comparison to, because I didn't think of that either. But I didn't know. I know the name of Zsa Zsa Gabor, but I never really watched her to really see who she was as a person, because it's just didn't go on my radar.
So according to voice actress Lisa Davis, Walt Disney took Cruella's look from a certain famous Hungarian. Zsa Zsa Gabor was very popular at the time and famous for loving fur coats and wearing fur. He thought that he might give her a Zsa Zsa Gabor touch. Though Davis made use of her exceptional Zsa Zsa impression to reach for Cruella, she felt that it was better suited for the role of Anita. Walt listened to her read some of Anita's lines and ultimately agreed that it was a perfect fit.
Oh, for Helen?
Yeah.
She barely has any lines in that movie, barely, too. Anita. I mean, it's here and there, but it's very, not as almost existent of a character in that movie.
Uh-huh.
Are you lost?
No, there's just one more.
Ah.
There's a nod to Disney's Silly Symphonies. There's a small nod to an early Silly Symphony cartoon called Springtime. You'll find it on the TV when Horace and Jasper are puppy sitting.
Yeah, I saw that. That's like that. It's interesting. But, all in all, I think, I like the story, but, I agree with Walt Disney. I didn't like the style of the Xerox whatever machine thing. Made it look so bad.
Right. Did you hear your laugh to go with that little tune? It sounded very symphonic itself. Because you went, do, 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 do.
Well, I'm sorry my laugh went with the song. We're in Disney mode. You go while singing songs.
Yeah, you literally sang Disney while laughing.
But all in all, and I think I was really kind of like when I watched 101 Dalmatians as a kid. I think I was scared of Cruella de Vil, towards the last there, where she got all crazy and stuff.
Oh, with the flashing eyes and shit.
Yeah, that little red devilly look eyes, she's running into that one, that whatever, the little truck thingy. Mm-hmm. I was just I kind of got scary there. I was like, yeah, no, don't like you.
Boom.
But then when you get older, then you're like, okay, not too bad, you're good. But I was but I always wondered how long her car was going to stay running. I was like, how bad that car looked.
It was like an old jalopy.
But I know, towards the end, by the time she actually crashed and.
Oh yeah, it was all
It looked like bad. I was like, how are you still running? Especially in the snow. You got all the moisture going into the engine. All that jazz. I was like, okay, there's the Disney magic right there, because I'm like that. In reality, I don't think a car would be going that far as much, especially with all that moisture going into the engine and everything. Especially those old cars. I was like. Okay.
Yep.
But let's go to England.
And the Sword of the Stone.
No, you're not allowing me to do that. You're just ruining it. God damn it! You are so pissing me off right now. This is not.
Wait, we went from.
We're not doing these arguments.
I'm gonna give.
No. This is not the argument.
Oh no,
this is not the argument podcast. That's for next week.
Okay, but you said we're moving it to England. What was 101 Dalmatians in then?
Okay, Chris.
We were in England with 101 Dalmatians.
Can I just do my shit, or you're just gonna just sit there and just be a douchebag over there?
Go ahead.
Well, now we're going to still be in England, but we're going way back when England first started.
There you go.
God dang it! This isn't the argument. The next argument is the argument. Okay, Albert.
Yep. The next argument is an argument. You ready? Go.
Move to the other England. Yeah, that's what we did. We just moved to the other England in another universe.
Well, now I can understand where there was England, and that's why they call that region New England. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, we're going way back when England was in infancy. We'll just go with that, basically. Basically, it's infancy of England. But we're going to Sword in the Stone with another version of Disney's version of King Arthur.
Which also, I have an honest question about that before we begin.
Uh-huh.
So, when he pulls out the sword, I'm surprised it's not rusted.
Well, it doesn't even say that, even in the original, other people telling the story, they never say if it's a rusted sword or not.
Yeah, they never tell you if it's an actual, rustic sword.
It magically just comes out and it's all pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's brand new.
But, if you think about it, it's in a stone, and there's probably not as much moisture going through. Depends on how, how stuck it is.
No, I'm talking about the outside. How much of the sword was in there?
Okay, so you're talking about the top, more like what's being sticked out. Than
Yeah,
what was
if
inside.
it was in the stone, I can understand it
being protected and everything that.
But it would probably be dulled over time because it went through a stone.
I don't know, but this is one of those stories. It's it's not been explained.
Yeah.
Well,
because it begs the question. Because if you're going on real weapons,
right? If you're thinking yeah. It's been enchanted to make sense for us not to rust. Yeah, but we're talking just not just Disney, because Disney has the magic. Disney has the magic, okay? It's like, that's it. But magic. But
magic.
But you got the other, stories that say there is a sword in a stone, but it's like, but it's more realistic, I guess, during the time period in question mark. And it's not Disney, Disney makes everything so beautifully and magically, and all that.
Okay, let's go on your guys' theory. Who enchanted the sword then?
That's the question. And how did the story get there? How did it get to be right there? I mean, people have been saying, oh, it happened because of one king died and, nobody can agree and, they just put it in stone. Well, that makes no sense. You can't just go, into, a stone with a sword. Just out of nowhere.
So, let's go based on, okay, it was so enchanted it could pierce through stone and, it couldn't rust.
I mean, if that was the point, too, but if it was that enchanted, shouldn't it break the rock or the stone or whatever?
Yeah.
If it's gonna go through the
stone,
unless
they also enchanted stone.
You hit if you had a thing and you hit it and it just goes. Sometimes the rocks or stones do that. And it could be Albert too, but
But again, who enchanted said stone and or rock to make it all connect?
Right. It's one of those things that either it was just like this story, like King Arthur is supposed to be more of a fairy tale and not a realistic.
No, King Arthur was real. It's just,
I know,
I think they exaggerated the story.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's more of like a fairy tale on some aspects, of it being all blah blah blah.
Yeah,
because
King Arthur himself had his supposed enchanted sword. A, he either would live forever, or B, he would be a god amongst men in battle.
Right. Well, most likely it's probably mostly, as I can see with all the stories, it's just a good in battle, pretty much. Because he didn't live forever. If he lived forever, he'd still be here today.
I know, right? I am King Arthur.
He'd probably still be ruling England right now. Screw you, Queen Elizabeth II. King Arthur's still sitting there.
You kidding me? He'd be sitting there with his sword and be like, with all these machines amongst me. What is this computer? Is this wizardry? I'm sorry, go ahead.
But anyways, let's go with the Disney version of basically the King Arthur story. We're taking the Disney turn and not taking the other turns, but but it's still questioned and basically in question. A legend is sung when England was young. Our story said Walt Disney takes place at a time when England was ruled by might alone. But Merlin can see the future. In fact, he's been there, and he knows that a time must come when brains will triumphant over brawn. So that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So he sets out to educate the future king in his own peculiar way. The film, based on T.H. White's widely read novel, The Once and Future King, first published in 1938. Mm-hmm. Legendary story artist Bill Peet introduced the book to Walt, who obtained the scene rights in 1939. Various attempts were made to develop the story over the years. In 1944, Walt announced that the film was soon to go into production, and storyboard drawings were created as early as 1949. But two decades would pass before work on the film officially began. Peet knew adapting the complex book would be a challenge. Getting a more direct storyline called for a lot of sifting and sorting. He revealed, Walt questioned the first version of my screenplay, pointing out that it should have had more substance. So I made an all-out effort by enlarging on the more dramatic aspects of the story. Peet remained true to the sophisticated wit of the original, resulting in a humorously told tale contrasting the 5th century with today's modern muddle. Walt was an inspiration for Merlin. In adapting the literary work, Peet incorporated Walt Disney, his own personal wizard, into the character of Merlin. Walt the Wizard never knew that I patented Merlin the Magician after him when I wrote the script. Peet later recalled, in his book, T.H. White describes the wizard as a crusty old argumentative and temperamental, playful at times, and extremely intelligent. Walt was not a curmudgeon, and he had no beard, but was a grandfather and much more of a character. In my drawings of Merlin, I even borrowed Walt's nose. So the Merlin that we know in Disney has Walt Disney's nose. I did not know that. And I was like, that was something interesting.
Uh-huh.
I was like, but I guess he was a grandfather at the time, so one of his daughters had a kid by that time.
Oh, by the way, since we're here and Albert's here, hey, nice watermark.
Okay, Chris. Yeah, something he doesn't know. Yeah, something he doesn't know. You should get excited because I don't know that.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be the queen of Disney,
Well,
and in the words of Albert, you're fucking up, Pink.
But also too, there's some information you don't really realize or don't go looking for. Like, yeah, I don't know the movie Sword in the Stone, but I never really sat there and studied it, and all that. Like some movies you do study, like Beauty and the Beast, you kind of get everything in there and all that, like every little talk. That one was spectacular.
It was, wasn't it? It was just amazing.
Wow. Milt called Master Magic in Motion. Given the richness of the personalities, Sword in the Stone was one of master animator Milt Call's favorite projects. I like the characters in the Sword in the Stone very much, said Call. He made Merlin kind of a doddering magician. I thought that's where he had his charm because he was so bumbling. Fellow members of Disney's elite 9 old men animation team, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, wrote that Call's Sir Ector and Sir Kay were the best humans ever done at the studio, as they were done without benefit of live action or the support of a reference material. So basically, have you seen Sword in the Stone?
Yes.
So basically, the Arthur person, the one that he's helping with, they were made out of nowhere. So they didn't have a live action person to look at. Gotcha. That were taking care of him, whatever. Okay, where is I? For the wacky but wicked Madam Mim, I like that, Madam Mim. Yep. Call added touches and bits of business that made working on this wild, witchy character a truly enjoyable experience. When the Sword in the Stone director and fellow 9 old man Wooly Rudderman saw Call's first rough drawings of Merlin and Mim, he remarked to the animator that they could be displayed in the museum. His response was when to Call, you're full of it. You're full of it. Okay. No. The voice of the wizard. Voicing the role of absent-minded Merlin was versatile performer Carl Swinson. Skilled at creating voice characterizations from his extensive career as an actor during the golden age of radio, Swinson was also in more than 100 television shows episodes and is most well known for his recurring role as Lars Henson on Little House on the Prairie. The actor returned to the Disney Studios to appear with Ron Howard and Vera Miles in The Wild Country in 1971. I like Merlin's character. He's like one of those characters I just loved. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with that character.
You fell in love with that character.
Well, just the way it is. The wizard, the owl, and the rabbit. Jonas Machi performs the crotchy voice of the educated but irritable owl Archimedes in addition to many appearances on Broadway stage and television. Mm-hmm. The multi-talented actor performed hundreds of varied vocal roles on radio. Carl Swinson recommended Matthews to Walt, pointing out the versatile actor and provided the voice of a potato on a radio program. However, he was originally cast as the voice of Merlin, but then switched roles with Swinson and became the voice of Merlin's owl. Following The Sword in the Stone, Walt cast Matthews as the voice of Rabbit in the Winnie the Pooh featurettes. Laughing it up with Archimedes. I love that name, Archimedes.
Yes.
And animating Archimedes, supervising animator Ollie Johnston brought to life one of his all-time favorite scenes of his own animation. The scene of Archimedes convulsed with laughter when Merlin crashes his model airplane. Johnston and Frank Thomas later wrote that Genius Matthews sustained this infectious laugh for over 20 seconds without at any time letting it feel forced or insincere. By the final scene, both the actor and the owl were completely exhausted, and Archimedes only could point feebly at Merlin and finally slide to the floor when he rolled and gasped for air. Merlin, who had bickered with Archimedes throughout the picture, could think of no way to retaliate other than to puff on his pipe and look very irritated. A magical menagerie. Menagerie, I think that's how it says.
Magical what?
Menagerie. Basically a thing of animals. Animals played an important part in the film's mostly human world, as for Walt to explain. With his wizard magic, Merlin changes the boy into a fish, then a bird, and a squirrel. Always very small creatures, so that his survival will depend on brains and not brawn. See, that's a kind of a cool idea how they got that. Played small characters, and instead of doing the brawn, think of your brain. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was cool. Transforming into animals is as the center of one of Disney's most brilliant animated sequences. Storyman Bill Peake gave us the wizard duel. Reporter Thompson and Johnston. It's like a mouthful. A perfect use of animation, maintaining personalities through a surprising change in forms and exciting action. Mm-hmm. In this fast-paced skirmish of wizardly wits, Merlin and the unhinged Mim tried to outwit each other by transforming themselves into a series of unexpected animals. The animators created 15 different visual persona for the battling magicians, with each creature maintaining the personality, visual characteristics, and even color scheme of even Merlin or Mim. So, and I didn't realize this either until when I read this, I was like, makes sense with the whole brains and bronze, because if you watch the wizarding duel of that, you see how Mim keeps getting bigger, but Merlin keeps getting smaller. Mm-hmm. Until he was that bacteria, I think it was, to make him, hey, Devante.
Yeah, to make Mim sick.
Yes, because he says, she thought when he wasn't a living animal. I was like, yes, I am. I'm a living,
Yep, microorganism.
Yeah, so I can make you sick. So he got to Madame Mim, but if I just now realized, basically all his characters were getting smaller, Merlin's, and Mim's was getting bigger. Mm-hmm. Showing she was taking the bronze side and he was taking the brains. So I thought that was a cool idea, and I thought I was that's actually awesome. And kind of showed Arthur, you don't have to be a big, strong, dragon. She was last she was.
Yeah, you don't have to be big and strong,
To be defeated. Brains just works just as much.
Yeah, so you could be or just pretty
kind of like David and Goliath type.
I don't know. I think it kind of works for both, because you could be a strong warrior, but if you don't have any brains to go with that brawn, you could easily be defeated.
And that's another truth to that too. But that's why I like how they did the aspect of that duel. It was the best duel. 3 voices, 1 Wart. Which Wart is the character Arthur, basically. They called him Wart throughout most of the movie. Mm-hmm. The voice of the story's young hero was Ricky Sorson, a talented teenager who appeared in many classic TV series at the time, mm-hmm. including Hazel and the Danny Thomas Show. When the young actor's voice changed over the 3-year production time of the film, director Rudderman drafted his own sons, Richard and Robert, to complete the voice role of Wart. Mm. So basically, he had 3 different voices in the movie. So you
can't really tell, though.
Yeah, you can. You can tell. There was one time he kind of got to, it seems like he got lower, but then it seemed like he got kind of higher type thing.
Oh, then yeah.
You could tell in the movie his voice changes so much in that movie. I mean, you can't do anything about it, with Ricky Sorson. He's a teenager, he's going to go through changes in his voice, so you can't, if you're going to do that, you might as well just had him, did his voice acting throughout the whole entire time, and then put it in the movie later, mm-hmm. If you're going to be this 3-year,
Exactly.
So I was like, makes sense, but it's kind of funny. It's oh wait, hold on, can't make him old yet. He has to still be a kid. Boy meets a girl squirrel. In one of the most unusual sequences in Disney animation, Merlin changes himself and Wart into squirrels, where a lovely little girl squirrel falls for Wart. Unaware that in reality he is a human, the sequence was originally to focus on the squirrels trying to avoid the hungry wolf, who it seemed at different points in the film. But the performance of the actress providing the chattering voice of the female squirrel changed Frank Thomas's entire concept for the scene. Thanks to her charming vocalization, Thomas transformed the sequence into a bittersweet encounter for animator, characters, and audience. When Walt saw Frank's animation, he suggested that a granny squirrel be added to pursue Merlin. Thomas was so fond of the squirrel sequence, it was screened at his memorial service after he passed away in 2004. Studios did something. I have no idea what it just went off. Oh, please tell me we're back.
Yeah, no, we're back.
We're back. Sorry.
It did a little crashy poo.
Alright, sorry. OBS crashed. I was like, I saw that. I heard the bleep and I saw the OBS something, and I was like, looking over here. I was like, ah.
You fucked up, Pink.
I always fuck up everything. You got mail. I know, right? You got mail.
Welcome. You've got mail. Wait, that was too creepy.
Yeah.
Just, you've got mail.
Sword, Sorcery, and Sherman songs. The Sword and the Stone was the first animated feature to include songs by Disney's newly signed songwriters Richard and Robert Sherman. We enjoyed it immensely, said Robert Sherman, of conjuring up 6 songs for the magical motion picture, because with animated films, the songs seem too much more important to the entire storyline of the film. Mm-hmm. For example, a most befuddling thing is Merlin's way of explaining the mysterious force of love in Squirrel Sequence. Higgidus Figgidus is one of the long list of Disney songs demonstrating Walt's love of coined words. In this case, Merlin's magic saying, "We didn't want to say abracadabra, we just wanted to do different words," explained Richard Sherman. And so the conversation was he's British, and we have to have sort of a British sounding magic, and also
Higgidus Biggidus.
I love that. I love that when they do that in the movie. So fun. It's sort of a Latin because it's very into Latin and Greek. The Sherman songs helped. Composer George Burns received a 1964 Best Score Oscar nomination for his inspired Sword in the Stone musical score. So that's the Sword in the Stone, and this is Disney's version of saying, "Hey, hey-oh," you know.
And last but not least, it's time for the bare necessities.
And this is going to be a very happy one and a sad one.
Well, then here, you read it for spoiling it.
I said it's a happy and a sad one.
Yeah, you fucking... I
need that as a ringtone when my mailbox is open.
Yeah, just... Welcome. You got mail. It may not have followed Rudyard Kipling's book exactly. In fact, Walt Disney preferred that the scriptwriters not read the book, but The Jungle Book was a toe-tapping box office success. Here are a few bare necessities you should know about the movie. Fucking mental floss with their... So this movie is 57 years old.
Well, at the time this was...
No.
The article was written.
No, it says... 52 years old. 67. It's 2019.
Yes. AOL was hot back then. After the AOL launch noise scared me as a kid.
Walt Disney thought the first version of the script was too dark. Writer Bill Peet was brought onto the script, the first version of the movie, but Disney believed it was too dark. It was not clear whether Peet left or was booted from the project, but either way, a new team was brought in for rewrites. Floyd Norman, one of the new writers, said Walt wanted the film to have more laughs and personality, and true to Disney form, he also wanted to sign off on every little detail.
But also, and that's probably why when we got the live action this last couple of years ago, that's why it was still dark. Because they wanted to play it as more darker than it was like what Disney wanted. You know? Also,
most of the songs were deemed too dark as well. Composer Terry Gillickson was hired to write the songs for the movie, but as with the script, Disney felt they lacked a sense of fun. Though the Sherman brothers, Richard and Robert, were brought in to write a new soundtrack, one of Gillickson's songs did remain in the movie, The Bare Necessities. We'd say he got the last laugh. Not only is The Bare Necessities one of the best tunes of Disney history, but it was also nominated for an Oscar.
Hey, Buzzbox.
Right. So, this was the last animated feature that Walt Disney oversaw prior to his death.
Yep, that's sad. This is the last one Disney ever laid his hands on was The Jungle Book.
Yep. So, when Walt Disney died in December 15th, 1966, the studio closed for a single day. Then they got right back to business working on the last animated feature that he had a hand in. The movie was released October 18th, 1967.
Yeah, so basically pretty much a year
Almost,
after.
almost a year later.
After Disney died. But it's kind of admirable that they only took one day off and then they were back at it.
Right? Like, the studio closed for a day to mourn his loss and then just went back to work.
Probably the way they were thinking, they're like, you know what, Disney didn't really take a day off. He rarely probably took a day off. I don't know if he really did or not. You know, no one really says anything. But it's like, but if you think about it, Disney was on the ball, you know, there for a while. Like, boom, 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 you know? So they're thinking, if anything, Disney would probably take one day and then he'd be like, we're back to work, guys. I don't care. Get this movie done, blah, 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 you know?
Yep. So, a rhinoceros character got cut from the movie. Rocky the Rhino was intended to be a dim-witted, bumbling, near-blind character that would provide some comic relief. His scenes were completely storyboarded before he got the boom. He was supposed to appear after King Louis' scene, but Walt didn't want to put the funny sequences back to back. He kind of wanted to give that, like, more...
a break.
Yeah, like, more, like, there's a comedic tone, there's a harsh tone. There's a comedic tone, there's a harsh tone.
Yeah, so you're not stick with just one.
Yeah.
And that's probably where he was probably seen at first, like, the darkness there is just like...
Yeah, you wanted to add some light to that darkness so that way darkness didn't seem too bad.
Because, I mean, in general, since the whole story of Jungle Book is dark, pretty much. So it's like, you're trying... Like, you know how Disney's innovated with, like... Especially Walt Disney was innovated with, like... He wants to make it more light, fluffy for kids, basically.
Well,
with some adult subtitles in there, you know,
kind of, Chris.
It's not Bagheera. It's Bagheera. Are you talking about Bagheera? I think that's what you're talking about. Is Bagheera? I think.
I thought I said the Buhera, because the J sound is more pronounced as an H.
Okay, I don't know. What are you talking about? Okay. It's Spanish. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bruschetta.
Okay. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm very, like, not
well,
Spanish.
Come on. Even when you see something as, like, Hugo, which is juice. Hugo.
I know. I'm joking. I'm playing. I know.
It's like J-U-E.
I know J makes the H sound. Yeah. I know that. I do remember that when I took Spanish class.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that.
Witchcraft.
Yeah. What?
Witchcraft.
What's witchcraft? Oh, well, there you go. I get to see it.
Bruschetta is...
Well, I know, but I'm talking about, you know... I didn't see what you were seeing before me. That's what I was trying to say. That's why I was confused. The last thing I said was like, it's Spanish. That's all I saw.
But no, what was I going to say? Shoot.
I know we were talking about the dark and light.
Oh, yeah. So, wasn't there more darker tones? Like, wasn't, like, Mowgli's... like die or something in the movie, or did he have to really kill? Yeah, no, he killed Shere Khan.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Even in the other versions, he did kill Shere Khan.
Yeah.
Like other versions of some. Well, I don't think he did in this recent one, the live action one in 2016. I think he just got him to run away. No, he didn't kill him in the animated version. Never mind, he didn't, because he tied. I don't think it was him or it was Baloo. Baloo tied to. Yeah, so he didn't kill Shere Khan. At least in the animated version, he did not kill Shere Khan. So, yeah, I don't know the whole, yeah.
Oh, okay, here we go.
But I think what the, like, you know, the live action one that they did in the 90s, I think kind of put more in light of how Mowgli became in the jungle, not as a baby, like as in what Disney did. I think he was a kid, lost his father.
Yeah, because in the live action one, didn't he grow up to be a man?
Yeah.
But they never did that in any of the animated versions.
Because they wanted to keep Mowgli as a kid. They don't want him to grow up.
But in reality kicked in, like he got so...
But we really don't know about the animated version one because he went into the human village, but we don't know... And I know they made a second one back in the 2000s of Jungle Book, but he was still a kid.
Yeah, but
still trying to have a hard time going from human to...
I kind of like the 90s live adaptation because it was like, okay, he's stuck in the forest, and then he grew up, he got adapted by it, he started living by it. Kind of Tarzan-esque almost.
No, that's... I think you're thinking something different. Shere Khan didn't, like...
Oh, anyways.
But...
So the Sherman Brothers wrote the Vultures song, That's What Friends Are For, with the Beatles in mind, even giving the characters similar accents. But the Fab Four turned it down at that time.
I think it was the worst thing they ever did, the Beatles did, is turn down a Disney movie.
Yeah, well, do you know why? It's because of John. It was because of John Lennon.
Yeah, John Lennon was being a...
But listen, John was running the show at the time, and he dismissively said, I don't want to do an animated film. And then 3 years later, they did Yellow Submarine. So you could kind of see how things changed.
Right, because it was an animated music video.
Yeah. But it would have, like, probably would have helped the Beatles' career even more so.
And it would be still known today.
Yeah.
With,
they still would have been relevant today.
Because Disney keeps relevance a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with their movies and stuff.
You kidding me? Without Ralph Breaks the Internet, not too many kids would still appreciate Sonic the Hedgehog's look.
Mm-hmm.
Because 3D Sonic, I mean, and a few other characters. There have been, like, what was it? The first Wreck-It Ralph? Not many people knew the 3D versions of the Street Fighter characters.
Right.
Like Zangief and Bison, etc., etc.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, Disney tries to keep a lot of stuff relevant. Even in their own movies, they try to keep it relevant. Like, they try to get people that are famous at the time that people would recognize, be like, I know you. I know your voice. Oh, yeah. You're this person. You know? Only
later on when John Lennon passed away did the Beatles actually, like the McCartneys and everybody else, they actually opened up to the idea of being cameoed in a lot of other things.
Right.
Which is weird because it only took John Lennon's death for them to actually break out and cameo themselves in a lot of other things.
Because I think they were probably scared of John Lennon. We'll just go with that. We'll just say they're scared because maybe I don't know what John Lennon did to them. You know what I'm saying, to make them like feel like they couldn't have a voice in their group thing. It seemed like John Lennon was making the shot, so it seemed like kind of like you don't get an abusive thing, but I don't think it was. But it just felt like that because it's like you're telling me this, and now they're like all like, oh wait, you could do all this after the fact this person died.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, but I think it would have been better for them.
Which also sparks a dark theory now, but we'll get into that.
Well, yeah.
So there are major mispronunciations in the movie. According to a guide written by Kipling, the main character's name is pronounced Mowgli.
I know Mowgli. Mowgli.
Mowgli.
Like
Mowgli. Yeah.
Like Mowgli. I know. I saw that. And I was like, I'm sitting here like thinking like Mowgli, and I'm like, that's like so hard. Like it's like harsh. For us. I know it's probably not harsh. For back in the book. The author that wrote it. But to us, it sounds so harsh.
Not
like
Mowgli, as Disney preferred to say it as.
Mowgli, and it's like what are you trying to do? Go wow. It's like ow. Sorry.
Not only that, but there was a few others. In addition, Ka the snake was supposed to be Kar.
That one's not too bad.
K-A-R.
Basically, they left off the R. Basically.
Yeah, no.
That one I don't see as a big.
There's
change.
A lot. So Baloo the bear actually should have been Barloo.
Barloo, yeah, it's like bar.
And Colonel.
Hey, Mama Slayer.
Colonel Hathey should actually been Colonel Hutty. Huttee.
That's a little. I think I would like that one better than Hattie, whatever, or Hottie.
Yeah.
Because I think I like the whatever you just, the Huttie.
So this one is a known fact, but it also got a lot of backlash. So King Louie was based on Louis Armstrong.
I know, and when I read that, I was like, what? And I could see it too, like how the style was of the whole.
Yeah.
I want to be like you. Like the whole style of that the band reminded me of like that old jazz. I
understand like if they wanted to give inspiration, but again, it also caused a lot of backlash. Although jazz singer and band leader Louis Prima voiced the fire-obsessed orangutan, he was not the Louis who the Shermans originally had in mind when they began writing "I Want to Be Like You" for the character. We were thinking about Louis Armstrong when we wrote it, and that's where we got the name King Louis. Richard Sherman told the New York Times. Then in a meeting one day, they said, "Do you realize what the NAACP would do to us if we had a black man as an ape? They'd say we'd be making fun of him." And I said, "Come on, what are you talking about? I adore Louis Armstrong. I wouldn't want to hurt him in any way." But in the end, due to a lot of differences, Louis Prima stepped in.
See, and that's where I'm getting when people they take it to the wrong, idea of it. Yes, I understand.
I can understand from one perspective where it's like, okay.
But you gotta realize too, they're not doing it as a malicious thing. They just think, I've seen Louis Armstrong singing this. I just see it. I don't care if he's an ape or not. I just see his voice. Yeah. I don't see him as he's a black, and you put him as an ape. you just see, because I mean that's how any magician is, I believe. Like they think of in mind, like especially like movie magicians. Let's go with that. Movie writers and stuff. Mm-hmm. They think of certain people like, I'm seeing this as this.
Yeah, this role specifically made for so and so. This is what I have in my mind.
And that was the same thing when they did with the whole Vultures with the Beatles. Yeah. They envisioned the Beatles singing it.
Right.
So it's like I'm just like, I hate when people take it to the extreme of like they're thinking we're just making fun when it's not. They just have that vision. I like this person's voice. I like their style. I'm seeing them as the character, not just because you're an ape and we're making fun of you.
Yep.
That's where people are getting a little too much. I think they're taking a little bit too much overboard on it. Mm-hmm. It's like, you guys are not, if you actually listen to the people, they're not trying to tell you they're making fun. They just think it's the voice. Right. They don't see the person. They just hear the voice.
Right. Hold on one second, guys.
What? Mama. What are you doing?
Oh, I want to show the fans something called rotoscoping.
Okay, but are you done?
Almost. This
okay.
is to prove one thing in particular.
Okay.
Where is this scene?
Mama says hi.
Hi, sis. How are you? Oh, where is it? Come on. I know it's weird, but like...
Well, anyways, we can look for it and we can do it next time if we want to. Remember, we gotta...
Alright, well, I'll have to do the editing then in my own way. But here's another fact. So the Jungle Book dance sequence was later borrowed from Robin Hood.
Right, which we all... Pretty much everybody should know by now. Like a lot... That's what I'm saying, like a lot of like after the fact that Disney passed away... I'm considering the Dark Ages where all the people were lost what to do. So they decided, let's just recycle stuff. That's how I see the Dark Ages as. It's just like, we don't know what, we can't keep out almost, like we come up with original stories, but we just can't keep up with our original scenes without Walt Disney. So I'm going to sit here and just recycle these animations, the scenes and stuff.
Rotoscoping was fun. No, it was just a cheap, ineffective way to repeat and recycle the same scenes over again to save them time and money. But King Louis and Baloo's I Want to Be Like You dance was later repeated frame for frame in Robin Hood, which also borrowed the same dances from Snow White, the Seven Dwarfs, and the Aristocrats. Mm-hmm. Or the Aristocats. This was achieved through an animation called rotoscoping, where animators trace over the frames of old footage to be used in a different environment.
Right.
The song Trust in Me was also recycled. Originally written for Mary Poppins as Land of Sand, Trust in Me was recycled with new lyrics for Cod to sing while hypnotizing poor Mowgli. Here's what it would have sounded like, and then the video, obviously, but we don't have the video. I mean, unless I can magically click paper and it sings for me.
Hey, Boax.
The young elephant was voiced by Clint Howard. Ron Howard's younger brother also voiced another Disney youngster, Roo, from the Winnie and Pooh movies.
You guys need the video, right? Yeah, we'll get the video, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, look, copyright.
Yeah, right? Phil Harris brought new life to Baloo. Allegedly, Walt chose Harris to voice Baloo after meeting him at a party. At the time, Harris was retired and nearly forgotten in Hollywood. On his first day of recording, his first day of recording didn't go so well at first. Harris found Baloo's wooden tone boring. So when asked if he could try a little improvisation, once given the go-ahead, he said, I came out with something like, you keep fooling around in the jungle like this, man, and you're going to run across some cats that'll knock the roof in.
It would be fair use because it's used in an educational manner. It could be. But also, that's kind of the first where you get your first improvised actor to voice. You think Robin Williams was the first one to improvise on his lines. Phil Harris was actually the first one to do that. So I think that's a kind of a...
So once Disney loved Baloo's new personality, he rewrote the lines to suit the style. There was a sequel
Yeah.
Also, here's the fun fact.
The
Sora was Mowgli.
Oh, the voice, yeah. I knew that.
Yeah, in 2003, not direct-to-video, surprisingly, it featured Haley Joel Osment, the voice of Sora, as Mowgli, and John Goodman as Baloo. By most accounts, you shouldn't probably watch it either because it was rated 19% by Rotten Tomatoes, as, like...
It was really bad. I watched it. My mom caught it when it was on VHS at the time, and it was just, I think that was the DVD, either or. Mm-hmm. But it was just, like, it made no sense. Like, if I was thinking of a sequel, I was thinking of, like you know, like what they did with the live action in the 90s. Make him grow up. Be an adult, not just still be a kid.
Right.
You know? So that's where I kind of, like, that's why I would never mention the second Jungle Book movie, because it just didn't go too well.
You mean like the Little Mermaid 2?
Little Mermaid 2 actually did a lot better as a sequel.
It still did ass.
Yeah, but it still was a better sequel than anything I've seen, besides, you know, Simba's Pride from Lion King.
Simba's Pride was top notch to me.
But I think I like Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea, because it made a little bit, you know.
Right. If I had to honestly go based...
Because I kind of like that aspect, because actually she was like, Ariel's the first princess to be a mom. I kind of wish I did a lot more sequels with a lot of the princesses. Like, what happened after Happily Ever After? Like, you had a kid,
but
let me see her with being a mom life, you know?
If you could honestly rate the 90s sequels remade, I would still say Lion King 2. Top of the tier.
Or, actually, I want to say The Rescuers Down Under was a good sequel, too. If you think about it.
I know, but I'm saying, like, if I was going on a scale, I would go The Lion King 2, The Rescuers Down Under, Toy Story 2, you know, and then, like...
Well, Toy Story 2, I'm not kind of going, that's, like, Pixar. I know they're part Disney, but that's, like, their own little entity. Like, Pixar's on their own little platform. I'm doing more like the animated, like, as in Disney did animation without Pixar's help.
Okay, fair enough.
So I don't really consider that as with the Disney version.
By the way, you guys will never know my favorite Disney movie unless I say it.
Really, Chris? You don't know there was a Lion King 2? Yeah, it's
There's even a Lion King 1.5 that tells Timon and Pumbaa's side.
Like from the first movie, so like all this other stuff that happened was because of them and not, you know.
Yeah, like fucking Pumbaa farting is the reason why everyone bowed.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Was it that?
Yeah, where everyone went like. Ugh.
And then everybody saw that and they were like, "Oh my God, they're bowing, so we need to bow." Yeah. Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
He's not one of us.
Oh, that was a good song. Yes, Lion King 2 was really, really good. As a sequel, like, in the 90s. Was it in the 90s? I don't know if it was really in the 90s. I think it was, like, 2000s, early 2000s of Lion King 2.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was just a few years after, because they still had the hype from the first Lion King there for the rest of the 90s, and plus of all the other movies, too. Because
of the Lion King 2 and the popularity it grew, it even caught on a Disney series called The Lion Guard.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was just they just did Lion Guard because they wanted to bring Lion King back. So before the live action, so they were trying to think of another, which to me it makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, no offense to Lion King.
I think it's a cute premise though to have a little baby.
It's a cute premise. Let's go with that. But I'm so disappointed how they did it is because I know they're trying to go with the younger version. It's the kids, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it makes no sense to me why Kiara is back to being a baby cub, basically. She's still a cub.
Yeah.
Well, when we got the Lion King 2, she's an adult. Yeah. So it's like, why did we go backwards? And on top of that, oh, look, Kion is another son to Simba. Okay, but couldn't you guys put that in somewhere else? In, like, the Lion King 2, like, he had more kids, you know? And he came from Nala, too, so it wasn't like, you know how they hold, hi, Zuka, the whole, like, the lion, the pride stuff, where there's, like, one male, and he, mm-hmm. It's all that, but it's Nala's kid, too, so it's like, I don't like, when the heck did they have time to do that? Because in the second movie, it seems like they were totally busy. Like, one kid was enough, that was it, I mean, you couldn't just sit there and say, hey, there's brothers and sisters down the road here, like, mm-hmm. at some point, but no, we just focus on Kiara, so it's kind of like, you guys are just making no sense with this Lion Guard stuff out of nowhere,
Yep.
Busy getting busy, right? I mean, it's just like, I I just like, you can't just throw another character out there, Disney. You gotta put a premise somewhere because you can't, and plus we can't go backwards. Kiara's still a cub. Well, why can't she still be an adult? Like she was at the end of the freaking second movie. What'd you do? What'd you do?
I showed him a picture of an eagle bird thing that said, and then they all fucked!
Wow. Okay. but also, yeah. What other, like, and then they all fuck. Okay, guys, I gotta talk about this because I don't know if I can hold it for next week to argue about. But I am so disappointed with this Disney Plus now.
Yes, okay, so before she begins on this rant, Disney, there was an article that was just released not too long ago about Disney.
This week.
About Disney Plus offering, its things, except for two major quote-unquote controversial movies or parts. One being they're not allowing the Jim Crow scene in Dumbo.
The animated version of Dumbo.
Yeah, the animated version. They're completely wiping that off, so they're pretty much killing off an entire scene in Dumbo that was deemed important to the whole structure of Dumbo. And then the other one is being, what she asked for originally was the Song of the South being a part of the Disney Plus, and Disney's just like, no, we're not going to do that. We don't want to take the risk.
But that's where I'm getting kind of pissed. It's like, well, then, you're not taking no risk whatsoever because a different generation, a brand new no, it's not the blackface thing. That was in Mary Poppins.
Yeah, no, it was. So the Song of the South is actually based on an old book about all that.
Uncle Remus.
And people got up in arms about it because it to them it's like, oh, Uncle Remus seemed so happy to be a plantation worker as an African American.
Also, I understand, they're not that, but you gotta realize too that most of them grew up that way. So like, let's say like for Uncle Remus, he probably grew up being on a plantation. What else is he going to do? What else is he going to do at that time? But the thing is, he got him to be free, but they didn't have no way of getting money and, starting in something else on their own, like their own plantation. Some people just stick to what they knew and what they did, but they just couldn't be considered slaves, like,
yeah, well,
no, like that.
Even back then when you're considered free, okay, you're free. What do you do now?
That's the point. That's why I'm getting at. And then they're saying, they're making it seem like they're happy.
No, maybe for all we know, Remus could have just lived his life as a plantation worker to feel some sort of like worth again.
Well, so that this time it's like a job.
Question for you both. What's up?
What's up?
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm trying to think of when it was
like maybe
going
now.
through.
Yeah, exactly. He's looking at it more of a job aspect because he's been doing it for so long. He's become accustomed to it. He's gotten used to it. Well, exactly. If you guys go to Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, there's
I see.
Which I find even more fucked up is because they're gonna hop on Disney's ass.
Mm-hmm. For making it seem like, well, let's put this all on the line.
Yeah, no, this is all racial. This, and this. Watch the Boondocks on Adult Swim. You hear the N-word so many times.
I know, because
being fucking flooded out through that entire episode. So I'm hearing ninja, and I'm like, I can't take you seriously.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's like, why is it okay for certain ones to do it, but it's not okay for anybody else? I understand, like, the whole color skin thing. Does the new Lion King look good to go see? Slayer did, and I want to go see it, or wait until it comes out.
Right now, we're kind of up in arms about it ourselves. We've only seen the trailer, what I still deem as...
Well, it's the official full trailer as of right now, like, because they're not going to put out another trailer until probably...
But I did call it, and she didn't believe me until... Because I did call there was going to be a one more trailer before the movie itself came out, and then they released the next, or the last Aladdin trailer... Until the movie's released, and it looks good.
Yeah, so if you guys want to go check out the Aladdin,
the latest Aladdin trailer, check it out. But for right now, we've got what I call the cinematic teaser trailer. They have the teaser trailer where they show you a little bit and then now this is the cinematic teaser.
Well, this is the cinematic trailer for like the next few movies, like probably like Aladdin and probably Toy Story 4.
Yeah,
probably
to show it off, and then we'll see the last one maybe about a couple weeks.
Probably so because I think the TV does like 2 different types of like like on any TV they do 2 types of trailers for these. I think Aladdin's going to be great. I would go see that one, but I understand.
Chris, it's not the parts you would never see in the movie. It's more or less like the new Aladdin. They almost one-to-one it, but with a little different like spin on it, a little different of a take.
And they added some scenes too that probably people were questioning about it.
Yeah, and then they took away some scenes that people probably wouldn't have cared about.
Yeah, so they added like there's a Cave of Wonders scenes where it's gonna look awesome.
Yeah, they actually had like an epic Cave of Wonders scene where he's standing around and looking all this shit crumbling and like lava flowing, and it looked really good. So
anyways, let's get back to what I was kind of talking about. I understand. I would go see it just to make your thing. I think it'd be worth it to go see The Lion King. Because it's going to be, to me, it looks like it's going to be toe-to-toe as the animated version, just looking more realistic, but it's still animation, not live action to me, but
so,
we'll go with that.
Let's go back to the topic. So with this whole racial thing and Disney trying to be butthurt, even Warner Brothers, like they've said in the previous articles, Warner Brothers did it better. So for those who don't know, back then, Merry Melodies, the old Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers cartoons.
Basically, let's go with both Looney Tunes. Like all Looney Tunes way back in the day. The old Looney Tunes.
Yeah, the old Looney Tunes / Merry Melodies, because that's what they were originally called, Merry Melodies.
Well, everybody knows it by Looney Tunes, so I would say to stick with Looney Tunes.
they with Warner Brothers, like anything on demand Warner Brothers, they've literally said before you start the cartoon or whatever, because there were cartoons of back then of like them depicting African Americans in a weird way.
And doing some stunts and stuff like
that. Or them attacking the Japanese, or them attacking the Germans, or anything propaganda related. And they've actually had a pre-warning before you start it. Like, hey, this was released at whatever time. Some audience may not agree to it. Viewer discretion advised. Mm-hmm. Right? So it tells you right off the bat, hey, this depicts
blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah, blah blah blah. You may not like it.
Some viewers may not like it.
It's totally up to you to watch it, though. We're not liable for you watching it. We're not telling you to watch it.
Yeah.
It's your choice to watch it.
See, that's what Disney probably needs to start setting up on now, especially with certain.
Yeah, it's their own liability, saying, hey, this is what we've done back then.
I would not mind if they put Song of the South on the streaming service, but then like they do right before, it's like, hey, this film depicts so and so and so.
Yeah, this film depicts whatever. Yeah, exactly. Blah blah blah.
I don't care if you don't put a G rating, put PG or freaking PG-13, whatnot. But the thing is too that makes me mad too is they put The Simpsons on the stream service since they own the Simpsons.
Yeah, they put adult things that because they own Fox now.
And it's the same with Marvel. Marvel's adult. It's not really
which I'm going to argue even more, because take a look at Family Guy. Family Guy gets racial.
Mm-hmm. Well, they get all kinds. They go far and beyond on all their stuff. Let's go with that.
A lot of Fox shows gets
but anyway, they go way beyond. We'll just say
that. They go way beyond.
Yeah.
So something as simple as the Song of the South to me is not as harsh as today's reality TV or today's TV in general.
I'm sitting there seeing it too, a Song of the South. It's like, yes, you're saying it. Oh, they're making it sound like happy, but people don't realize. They could be still happy, but they're probably getting paid, for one, because they weren't getting paid before. Two, it's probably because most of them, that's all they know. How the heck are you going to skip free and start something new when you don't have... Like, how America is, you're not just going to jump in and be like, you have money when you leave something that you've known for your whole life. And, you don't get the...
There you go. This film depicts views of the time it was made. This film in no way is representative of the current view of this...
Yeah. I mean, that's all they have to do to put it on the streaming service. And I hope Disney is watching this podcast, because that's where I'm going to get at with that. And the same with the animated Dumbo.
Oh yeah, no, like Disney, grow some balls. If there's someone actually watching this, like that's a representative.
You know what?
Disney, grow a pair of balls, put liabilities behind yourselves, and say, hey. Because if people are always going to get mad, which makes no sense to me. Because again,
also you're going to be showing this to a different generation that's probably a little bit more accepting.
But
just a little
again,
bit more,
I don't appreciate, nor do I like how this new generation are going to get so butthurt about a movie from the 1930s.
It was made in 1960.
1960. Okay.
Like 64, came out. The movie came out. Song of the South came out in 1964. So basically, before the whole, no offense to them, but it was before the whole the civil rights movement too. In the same, well, I mean, they were in that mode, but they were before it. But
so how are people going to get so butthurt and point out these facts, but they're not going to go sit there and argue about rap music?
Or why don't you go?
No. Let me finish, please.
Also. Why are you not going to go after The Simpsons, or you're not going to go after Family Guy? Why are you not going after these people that are doing a lot worse stuff than what Disney's doing?
There's even worse. They're going to sit there and bitch about movies that were of the past, but they're not going to sit there and argue about the now.
Right.
Where there's rap music saying the N-word fucking 45 bajillion times.
Yeah.
So that way and then it gets blared on the media, where the media. Again, riots between a bunch of white people at a sporting event, and I've seen this plenty of times, and it sickens me because there's a bunch of stupid white idiots flipping over cars and burning shit, and the media reports it as kids having a romping time, but actual African Americans standing up for their rights and not doing a damn thing, not causing any problems. They're just fucking with their. Basically, they're rioting, but a peaceful riot. But the news depicts them as being
like you're saying, like with the Martin Luther King time, they did the riot, like they did those walks, but it was more like silence. Nothing was going on.
No, but I mean, even today, it still gets depicted where there are no African Americans fighting anybody. They'll sit there, they'll be civil, they'll be humble, but they're fighting for their equality and their rights, which is amazing. And the fucking media calls them otherwise. Oh, a bunch of African Americans are being this, and this, and rowdy, and distasteful, and this and that. But a bunch of white fuckers could sit there and burn shit, flip shit over, and they're just having fun.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying, but that's why I don't understand it, because, and plus, I'm just saying, too, why are you going after Disney over the Song of the South, or even the Jim Crow thing on Dumbo, but you're not going to go after Family Guy doing...
Yeah, you're not going after Family Guy for a white man portraying a black man.
Or The Simpsons.
Or The Simpsons.
So, it's like, you guys can't just tell me, oh, let's just go out, and to me, it sounds like they're going after the, Disney's
they're picking and choosing their battles.
But they're going after, they think, quotation, vulnerable company.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Walt Disney had a different mind. I guess he wanted it to be magical and kid kind of whatever friendly. But
at the same time, he also got his stories not only from books.
Reality. Yeah, this is what's going. See how I think of Song of the South came out to be is more showing this is what happens after the fact.
Also, if they were going to attack Disney, why are you attacking Disney? Why not attack the author who made it?
Well, the story, too, that Disney got it from. Yes, there's that, too. But you can't go after a dead author.
Exactly.
But Disney is still booming and alive and whatnot.
Because now it's not so much an argument of how they want to fix it. It's more of an argument of...
All of a sudden, they call something like Marches of Black Lives Movements. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think it's so much an argument of you should fix it. It's more like fix it or pay us money.
Basically, just blackmailing, basically.
Yeah, give us money.
But you know what? What I can always see, too? But also, too, it's what? A group I'm not seeing really should be fighting, too, for Disney is your LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Where's that? I know they have, like I said, that community should be fighting.
And I know this is because I mean, if it sounds
no, but listen to me, that group is not fighting hard enough. Yes, we gotta show that it depicted a homosexual kid.
Okay,
great, and you're allowing the all the LGBTQ to go Disney World or in Disneyland. You're protected if somebody acts like a douchebag.
Right.
But they're not fighting as in why can't I have a Disney prince or princess be part of me? Just of me.
Before we...
So, I understand the African Americans, yes, great, awesome, but I just don't understand why everybody's,
No, I don't think, and it's not to be personally racial or anything. It's literally, if you guys take it as that, I do apologize. This is just my thought process behind it. This is my personal thought process behind it. So, if I get slandered or whatever for it, I'm sorry. I'm not, it's in any way, shape, or form, I'm not trying to target a specific one. It's just made me realize it. because have you noticed it's only been the NAACP that has been attacking everything else, and other people have been arguing the same case only about African Americans. You've never heard a Hispanic man or a bunch of Hispanic groups get up in arms about something that was depicted in a Disney movie or a show or this or that. You've never heard the Chinese or the Japanese get up in arms.
They could have sat there and fight over Mulan saying, that's not our story.
Yeah, you've never heard them get up in arms about it.
No.
They never got pissy about it, or if they have, it's been so low and undercover that we barely noticed.
They probably went into like a room with the head of Disney and talked it nicely and like men to men. Well, I'm assuming it's men. I'm not. Yeah. I can't. It might have been a women. I don't know, but you know.
There's so much Disney has done where other races, colors, creeds, religions, etc. could be fighting Disney or any other corporation.
I'm surprised like that. Even like I'm gonna go with the Middle East.
Yeah, or
I was, you would think they would fight.
Well, okay, let me scratch that. The only time another India was it was India because they thought Aladdin was kind of part of their culture because the whole Arabic thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't them. It was Middle East.
But they misinterpreted it as the depiction of the guardsman almost cutting off the princess's arm for theft, because that's a real thing that happens over there in those.
And the same, and it does happen in the Middle East too.
It happens so much.
Like that area, basically.
It's a harsh reality, but they got pissy because it depicted their reality.
And people got up in arms about it, but it's like, guys, Disney does it both ways. They do the Disney version where it's all magical, blah blah blah.
But they give you a harsh dose of reality.
But then they put in the reality too with it. Like, this is what would happen if you did this over here too.
Yeah.
So, but like I'm saying, with this song in the South, and I'm very disappointed. And they don't. And this is another new fact, guys. U.S. is not distributing Song of the South movies. So if you're finding DVDs or VHS of Song in the South, you're getting it overseas.
Yes.
You're not getting it from the U.S. like Disney itself.
Which again, if that's the case, boycott Splash Mountain. Take it off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's where
stop the musical rights for Zippity Doo Dah, because that's overly played. Because that's it.
And Uncle Remus sings the song too. Well, I mean, even
I mean, if they wanted to get that political and that up in arms about it,
that's what I almost want to say. So if you're guys going to make a big deal about the Song of the South movie, then sorry guys, Splash Mountain is done. You should knock it down or make it into a different...
Knock Splash Mountain down. Stop using any music rights for Zippity Doo Dah. Or anything.
Well, anything from Song of the South.
Yeah, anything from Song of the South.
So,
if that's the case,
people are like, oh, it's okay to have that as a ride.
No, it's not.
No, that's how people are thinking.
Yeah.
It's okay for it to be the ride, but it's not okay for us to sit there and see it. Because it's like, I'm a new generation that has not seen Song of the South. I would love to sit down and... Well, I have not seen it.
I grew up on it. Like, my dad...
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Not all of us have seen it. I'm not trying to say anything bad about
my dad got lucky and actually got one of those...
Well, cool.
Because he got an old...
Well, anyways, but some of us, like our generation, never got to see Song of the South. Yeah. Because it never got distributed in the U.S.
I've got to tell you, from a young mind...
The only time I knew anything about Song of the South, just to tell you as a kid, is from... what Disney did was the silly songs, like a musical thing where they have all the songs, put together. And that's the only time I know anything about Song of the South was the Zippity Zoo song, because it was in one of those little musically songs, silly songs with like Disney. They put all these like songs from Disney movies into it. That's the only time I ever knew about Song of the South. And then and you're sitting there looking at it like, well, where is this movie? I've seen all these other movies out here, but where's this movie? Because I really want to see this movie because it's something new and I want to watch it.
Yep.
And it'd be something I would love to like experience once. I don't care.
It is a good movie.
It
really is. It's kind of like Ben Dobson.
I kind of know because I read on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same aspect of Mary Poppins and Ben Dobson Broomsticks. It's in that
I would love to have that
movies.
experience to at least watch it at least once in my life. At least to say I watched it. That's why I was like wanting the streaming service to at least stream it so I could at least watch it once. Right. I don't care if you let me watch it once and then take it off the next day or something. I don't care. But at least I got that privilege to sit there and watch Song of the South.
Which is funny, because how would this new generation know without even taking a look at the movie?
Yeah, so if you're getting these young kids or this young group of people, and I'm assuming most of them are our age anyways, they're in the NCA, whatever.
NAACP.
Yeah. Are probably our age now. So why are you fighting something that you probably never seen in your life? I guarantee it, because if the Disney did not distribute it on VHS or DVD, there's no way you would know anything about that movie besides word of mouth from your predecessors. So I don't understand why they're making a big deal out of it.
It pretty much is word of mouth from your predecessors. It's the same thing of like everything else in this world.
But I'm just thinking these predecessors too, and no offense to anybody that's African American, I'm just thinking like, I'm thinking of it as a history thing. Like, I'm not thinking of it as a bad thing. Yes, it's bad, but you gotta realize how hard was it for any African American after they got released with, you know, they probably got shows select clips. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's just like, but also it's like.
And again, we're not getting racial here. We're actually just going it from a different standpoint.
But how I say it, I don't think it is a racial. I'm just thinking as in reality, like, you're coming out being a slave all your life. That's all you know. So you're free. Great. Awesome. You could be whatever you want. But what are you going to do? How are you going to start a farm? How are you going to start this? How are you going to do this and that?
Exactly.
Because basically, even in the South, they were still prejudiced against African Americans in the South.
Which is fucked up back then, but that was the times back then.
So they either had the choice of, well, I'm going to stay on this plantation and just do the rest of my life of what I was basically born to do, basically.
And then just give my next of kin, just give my next of kin whatever I worked on, so that way they could build a better life than what I could have.
But hopefully, and I don't know if this is true, but I hope they were getting paid, you know, after the fact they were considered free on the plantation, like the plantation owners paid them and not just, you know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I don't know. I don't know what to believe, like, in history-wise, because, you know, you got the
history,
white man.
Well, again...
no, I'm talking about, like, you got the white man history, and you got your other histories.
But the best line I've heard is actually in a video game. History is written only by the victors. You never hear history written by...
And it's true. And take, for example, and I'm going to take this as an example, Pocahontas' story, okay? You read all the history books that we learned in school.
Yep.
That's all white man.
Yep.
And you're thinking, oh, this is what it is. But I got a book when I went to Virginia, like a few years back in the 2000, like early. But when I went to Virginia, I got a book. It said the true story of Pocahontas, which was written by her people.
Yep.
Not the white man, her people, and that was a totally different story than what you learned in the history books.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm like, I don't know, like. Because you can only know about the white man's side. Because I'm going to say this: most of our history books are on the white man's side.
Unfortunately,
and that's what it is. That's what the history we learn in schools is, the white man history. We don't really learn anything of the actual people themselves.
Yeah. So we're only as smart as what we learn.
And
we rarely have books.
It's bad for the people like the African Americans.
Yeah, we don't have too many history books written from African Americans about African Americans.
That's what I'm trying to say. Even they're learning that too in schools, because they went to the same schools as we do. So they're learning the white man history, but they're not, you know. And I don't believe, like, some of them that tell me, like, if Devontae tells me a different side of the story of an African American story, like, oh, we actually blah 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 did this, I would believe him more than what my white book history told me. Like, oh no, they started that fight. No, the white man started that fight. You know.
Pretty much.
Basically, that's what it is. Like, at least in America's standpoint, I don't know how it is in the other countries, but at least in America's standpoint, we're only doing the white history. We're not doing any other history.
No, and that's the fucked up part.
They'll put, like, little tidbits, like, oh, they did this, they did that, they riot, they did this, but they don't give you that full.
Yeah,
it's like what actually happened. They want us to make us look. We're the greatest, you know.
Yeah, we're the greatest fucking race in the world, and to be honest, no, we're not. If we really wanted to get down to it, and I could easily depict it, the white race is nothing more than a bunch of illiterate, stupid, inbred, for the majority, money-corrupted, fucking pollution-taking assholes.
Right.
Like, we don't give a fuck. Again, this is a majority of white people. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about anybody else but themselves and what they want, and fuck the rest. You know? And again, they want to write their own stories to make them look fucking justified and whatever.
We did right, you know.
Yeah,
they were
we did right. I did it because they'll be like, and they have literally done it where it's like, there was this one case that sickened the hell out of me where it's like, oh, you know, I made billions of dollars in this. I did this thing. I did that thing. I gave to charity. So don't mind me raping little girls.
Right.
And that is the disturbing part because it's like, no. you did that. That action does not fucking
cover up that whole situation.
Yeah, just because you were a male fucking model white citizen does not deny the fact that you did this said action. That's disgusting, because if any other person, color-wise or anyone, you'd fucking point that out instantly.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so
yeah.
what's the difference between you and said other person?
Right. So that's what I'm trying to say. And they're even covering up their own, their own stuff, like all the white man history. And that's why I'm going to sit here, and I hate to say, yeah, I know I'm white, but I know that our history books are totally wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, that makes no sense. Especially when it really made me open up a lot more is with that, like I said, the Pocahontas story. I read that it's a small book, but it has a lot in it with that small book about the story of Pocahontas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was a total switch around. John Smith was an asshole. He wasn't the nicey guy. He was a total fucking asshole. He was in jail on the boat. Now, Disney makes him look like he's a big old hero or whatever, but he was an asshole.
No, she married young to another guy just so she could...
No, she actually married Coquitlam. They do mention him in the Disney movie. She actually married Coquitlam. The Indian was called Coquitlam. It was true. Mm-hmm. She did actually marry him. She actually has 2 kids. Everybody always says that she had 1. No, she had 2 kids.
Didn't she get kidnapped or something? Or they
kidnapped him. They murdered him because they were kidnapping her. Mm. And he was getting away. How some guys are protective of their wives and all that. Well, some of them. We'll go with that. Not all guys are like that.
So
but
for all we fucking know.
But she did have, like her people said, she did have a kid with Coquitlam. Mm-hmm. But they kept that kid hidden so he wouldn't, get murdered or anything. So they kind of hid him away.
Right.
So, actually, when John Smith ever met Pocahontas, she was young. She was only 7. So
yeah, but I mean,
and then you got that depiction of
why was she taken to the U.S. in the first place, though?
No, she was already in the U.S.
No, I mean
You mean England?
Sorry, why was she brought to England in the first place?
Because they wanted to see about an Indian princess thing, and all that, trying to see, royalty for the Indians and blah blah blah.
They got the wrong fucking Indian.
Well, like the spokeswoman, I'm talking about, that type of person. Well, she ended up getting sick and she died from smallpox because she's not used to smallpox. None of the Indians are used to any of us, Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm trying to say. She never saved John Smith. How they say, saved him from killing? No. He was in a ritual, which was a typical thing just to be honored by the Indians. That's what it was. She had nothing to do with it.
Yep.
The only thing she ever contacted with John Smith is to he helped her learn English, and that was about as far as any relationship she ever had with John Smith. I know Disney glorifies it that she had a relationship, and I got so ticked off with that because people nowadays, with the whole Pocahontas 1 and 2, mm-hmm. everybody favors Pocahontas 1. We want John Smith. Honey, guys, read the history. They're even Disney's trying to tell you too. She never ended up with John Smith ever. She ended up with John Wolfe out of pure pity. Because technically, the kid that she had supposedly with John Wolfe wasn't his. It was her captor's, because he kept raping her. Mm-hmm. So they had to make it look good. So, yeah.
Anyways, guys.
But, anyways, guys, that's it for that. I just had to talk about the Disney Plus about getting rid of some. So, and guys, if I want to tell you this with Dumbo, you might as well just get the DVD yourself and watch it. Don't watch it on Disney Plus. If they show it, they're going to get rid of that one scene with the Jim Crow, and I don't know how that's going to work. To tell you the truth, it's going to look really stupid. That's how I feel about it. On that one, I wish I would talk about the Dumbo one real quick because we got too much on this one.
I mean, you're already past 12. I don't know if your mother's called or not.
No, I have my phone right there. So, but anyways, guys, I guess that's how I feel about Dumbo. I just don't know how it's going to look. It's going to look terrible when they try to skip that scene.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much just... he went from nothing to, how the fuck do you have this black feather in your
I don't know. They talked about that they're going to try to do something, but I don't know what they're going to do with it. The whole Dumbo thing. So.
And don't give me this whole fucking... Because if they try to pull that stunt too, I'm going to be equally just as pissed, where it's just black screen and text behind it, where it's scene of Dumbo taking a black feather from a crow. Can't be sure. Yeah, it's
something to that effect or something weird.
But...
Because
if they clip it, then you're going to hear a lot of backlash for that as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if they just black screen it and just give us a description,
the thing is, if they're having an issue with the Jim Crow one, and and people are making an issue about Mary Poppins, and Mary Poppins should not be shown on that streaming service. Because, oh my god, the blackface. She powdered her nose. Look, I'm sorry. You might as well get all these movies that people are having issues with. So let's get rid of Mary Poppins. Let's get rid of Little Mermaid.
Let's get rid of the Aristocats. Let's just get rid of all the Disney movies. Just get rid of all of them. I mean, because if that's the case, the person who's saying everybody wants to be a cat.
Damn if you do, damn if you don't, right?
Pretty much, but the cat depicted, the chubby cat with the fucking hat in there, literally is your depiction of an African American right there.
Or you could go with the Siamese cat. In a way, the
and be like, oh, hey,
that could be an offensive right there, because I don't know I don't know if that's actually a saying that they do say over in Oriental. Not. That could be depicted as fun, but do you see them having an issue with it? Like, oh my god, you better ban Aristocats because you're depicting Orientals wrong.
Yeah. Either way, it's just like, and you can really get to it. It's like, you're depicting African Americans and Chinese people as pussies.
But I also want to say, so I don't think I can see one Disney movie where there's something.
Wait, even better. Spot out the Dalmatians and 101 Dalmatians because the spots are black.
But that's what I'm trying to say. If everybody's going to be playing this, there's this and this, well, I'm sorry, guys, there's no more Disney, because I guarantee in every dang movie there is that's ever been made is going to have something wrong and somebody's going to have a freaking fit about it.
Of course.
So everybody. It's like, so I'm about to say, you know what, Disney, you might as well just shut down now. You might as well, because everybody's having a fucking issue with all your movies, or you better just make...
Yeah, no, shut down everything Disney, including the Disneyland, the Disney World, the Disney everything. And then when people whine, bitch, and complain, it's like, hey, you're the one who made this happen. It's...
Oh, no! Actually, you should be... There is something wrong with Dalmatians. Think about it. Do you remember the scene?
Mm-hmm.
They go in the suit. Oh my god, that's blacking. That's blacking, guys. Well, we gotta get rid of 100 Dalmatians because the dogs are turning black.
Yep.
So I'm just sitting there saying, I'm like, these people need to shut up and just take a fucking pacifier and just go fuck yourselves, because you're just taking stuff.
Same thing about the rescuers.
But I'm just saying, you're taking a lot of stuff out of context with Disney. And plus, you gotta realize, too, guys, when Disney made...
No, but the same thing happened to Bernard and the Rescuers. We got sooted. You don't remember?
Yeah, but I think it was on accident. I don't think he did it purposely.
Doesn't matter, though. They could because a white mouse fucking turned black.
But I don't think it had anything to do with it.
No, I know.
I don't think he didn't do it himself purposely doing it.
No, but you could see the butt hurt. Like,
That's what I'm just saying. Like,
well, then ban the rest.
I'm about to tell Disney, you know what? Grow a fucking pair of balls and just screw people that are like, blah, blah, blah. They're just one small group. Congratulations. They're just being assholes. They want something.
And it's nothing personal to the NAACP. I respect
that.
I respect African Americans. I respect any race, color. However, to me it seems like a malicious attack towards a corporation saying, oh, give us money or we're going to...
That's what I'm getting at. That's why they're thinking Disney is a vulnerable company. Even though they're owning everything, but they're seeing them as vulnerable.
It's but it's also like the same thing as fucking PETA.
Like I said, that's because... Disney is being vulnerable. They're acting like that. I bet you if Walt Disney was alive today, I bet he wouldn't stand for that bullshit. Because he'd be like, you fucking go.
Take a look at Warner Brothers. Do you see PETA attack Warner Brothers? No. But do you see the NAACP attack Warner Brothers? No.
But that's what I'm saying. Basically, if Walt Disney was still alive today, I know he would be really old, but still, if he was still alive today, he would probably tell everybody to go fuck themselves and like, I'm still doing my bullshit my way.
Yeah. It would be like the video game companies of today.
He did. That was pretty much, if you think about racial. He didn't give two damns about it. He was like, fuck you guys.
He would honestly say these exact words. If you don't like it, don't fucking watch it.
Pretty much. So.
I had to be careful being over the mic, but I was trying to tell you the same exact thing.
I know. But anyways, guys.
If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Anyway, guys, this is it for this podcast. I don't think we need to go any farther. We could probably do this for next week. But next week, guys, the podcast will be at... Can you please stop and just wait?
I'm waiting. I just have to set everything up so I don't...
I know, but you could have waited on that. But anyways, guys, next week the podcast will be at 8 p.m. Because since it's my week off from work, all my weeks on, it's at 10 until like 10 o'clock. Night, Dan Pink. So, but anyways, guys, I'll see. Didn't change. You guys are still clipping anyway, so whispering didn't change.
Okay.
So we'll figure that out. So, but anyways, guys, we'll see you next week at 8 p.m. here for the Disney podcast. Bye.